episode of Bulletin Broadcast. My name is Ben. I am joined by the beautiful boys that are Dan.
Hello.
Hello. And Greg.
Hello, I'm Greg. The one that caused the audio issues last week.
How have you boys been?
I've been fine. Before we do the topic of today's podcast, I want to get on to the news of the morning. Now, I'm sorry that this will date the podcast in a way, but this is big news and I think we should all comment on it.
Oh dear.
Are you guys up on the news of the morning?
It depends if my news of the morning is the same as your news of the morning. Is your news Pokemon related?
Well, here it is. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the film, is coming out any day now. I can't wait. The premise of this film, they're both spies. They're a husband and wife that don't know the other one is spies. Can you believe it?
This is a remake, no?
Oh, it's a brand new film, Ben. It stars Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, Tomb Raider herself.
Am I in the Twilight Zone?
No, we've woken up in the early 2000s, Ben, I think.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Again.
It's coming out. It's coming out any day now. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Go watch it in cinemas, guys.
Well,
Please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cinemas, I don't know what that was. I think, was that big room with the giant TV?
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've been in one.
Yeah. And you used to try and sneak in your snacks as if, they cared, but they didn't.
But how did you eat snacks with your mask on?
No, this
What's
was...
the mask?
Yeah. Greg's living in 2 decades prior to the upheaval.
Friends, before we continue, I'm alarmed. I'm looking at the 3 audio tracks we have, and my one doesn't have little bobbles like yours ones have. Am I the only one seeing this?
I mean,
on mine.
On mine, you have little bobbles, yeah.
Okay, because on mine it's just a straight line, and you know me, I love to be on the straight and narrow, but that is alarming. To think that this could be a podcast where the 2 of you speak to the ghost of Greg for the whole episode.
Isn't that what's happening, given that you're like 2 decades prior?
It's just where I'd prefer to be right now.
Oh, fair, okay.
I would like it if Mr. and Mrs. Smith were about to watch it for the first time. A great film, nay, the best film, perhaps.
I do genuinely... on a serious note, I am pretty sure that they are remaking that.
I think they're doing a TV show.
No, not a TV show of it. No.
So.
That concept does not have legs for that long. Oh, no.
I thought you was talking about the bloody Pokemon game that got announced, where you get to be a ninja and you get to literally throw Pokeballs at people.
What? There's a ninja Pokemon game? My joke was supposed to be that, of course, I wanted to talk about the Diamond and Pearl remakes that have been announced this morning. But there's a ninja Pokemon game now?
So it was alongside those remakes. There's... I can't remember. I'll send the trailer over and we can watch it afterwards.
Okay.
It's called...
If
something...
Sorry,
but it's basically...
Guys.
Sorry. I was trying to help Ben with the name, but he wasn't letting me.
Yeah. Go on, Dan. Help him out.
No, I've forgotten. It's
Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Oh, gosh. That sounds terrible.
Right, yeah, but you play as a player. It's set before the Elite Four. There's no Elite Four. There's nothing like that. Pokemon, you don't need gym badges to control the levels of the Pokemon. They just kind of listen to you if you can catch them.
Like in a bag instead.
Yeah, and you don't. There's the encounters aren't. You don't random encounter them. You see them, and you can physically aim the Pokeball to throw at them. And then there's no battle screen. It's just like a IRL fight that just kind of happens in the area. I think there's one village, and then the rest of it is the wild area, which is a bit.
So this is made in the style of the new Pokemon games, like of Sword and Shield. It's that sort of game.
That art style, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm open-minded about that. I haven't seen a trailer of that. Are you guys totally sure that you can see that my audio track is working? Because it's just a straight line and I'm completely
I
terrified.
I
sent you
believe
a
Dan has
picture.
sent you a picture.
Yours are
Dan
much
sent me
bigger
a
than
picture.
everyone else's.
Oh, well, that's because I never shut up. That's mine.
How
That's a
how are we not talking about the most exciting Pokemon news that's happened in the last few days?
Well, what's your one? Is there a lot? Have I just not noticed?
Well, it was a
The
Nintendo
fact
Direct, so
that the Rolling Stones tweeted this morning that legendary homeless rapper Post Malone is releasing a cover of Hootie and the Blowfish's "Only Want to Be with You" for Pokemon's 25th anniversary.
yes, it's
This
like
made me
an
really
in-game
happy.
concert, isn't it?
I don't know, but
What?
at no point was I not dumbfounded by the entire headline.
Yeah, we'll look into it afterwards, but I'm pretty sure that they're going down the Fortnite route of it's like an in-game event where you can watch Post Malone sing this song.
I saw that headline and I didn't. Most of those words didn't make any sense, and they certainly didn't make sense together. So I bookmarked it on Twitter to be like, I'm gonna have to work out what I had to piece this together. Like later, like what is that? I don't know, because I've heard of Hootie and the Blowfish, a band from the '90s? And I don't know what Post Malone is, and I know about Pokemon. I didn't know it was 25 years old, but that
What
means
is a
that it's.
Post Malone?
I don't know. Is that like a kind of why does my flat suddenly smell like weed? What is my day
Because
today?
you're talking about Post Malone.
Yeah, you've said his name too many times. It's like Bloody Mary. Like if you
He's
talk about
appeared
him, he
behind you.
appears.
Oh, is Post Malone like a? Is that like a word for drugs? Is that like a? I'm smoking a Post Malone here, friends.
A little posty.
A little post. Hey, pass me some of that Post Malone.
Okay, I mean, I guess we should actually talk because we do have a topic.
Yeah, we do have a topic. Yeah.
So this is recommended to me by my other half, Ellie, and it's a bit of a spin on what we did last week. So last week we did games that disappointed us. They weren't necessarily bad, but they just weren't what we was expecting. However,
Yeah.
this week we are discussing our least favorite games that either we played and did not like, or there's just something about them that we do not appreciate.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I will preface my ones where I sort of struggled to come up with games in particular that I disliked, but I decided that I would pick ones that I thought would upset the two of you the most.
Oh, that's
I'm happy
kind
with
of you. Thank you. Yeah.
I just really wanted to provoke you
Shocking.
guys. I'm feeling a bit rambunctious this morning.
Okay, go on then. Well, why don't you go first then? Try and upset us.
Rile us
Okay.
up.
Okay. Dan, you're going to have to sit on your hands for the next few minutes because this is going to be a rough one for you.
If you say Dragon Age 2, I swear to God.
Don't worry about it, Ben. That might be coming later. No, we've talked about that so much already recently. Okay. You guys know that I am not keen on platformers.
Mm-hmm.
The first platformer, 2D platform, especially the first 2D platformer I think I ever played was round a friend's house. I don't know which one it was. It was a Mario game for the Wii, and it was a terrible experience.
Maybe Super Mario Galaxy? Was there stars that you had to wiggle the fin and collect?
I don't think so. It seemed like you were going from like mission to mission and you ran around on like a map and like you had like Toad and Luigi were with you and it felt like a what I understand to be the normal Mario experience but on the Wii.
Okay, I mean, it might be Super Mario 3D World or whatever it was called.
Oh, it was terrible.
Why?
Oh,
What was it you didn't like?
I was just having the worst time. Like you're just, and it was made worse by the fact that I was playing. There was like a room full of people, and we were all taking turns as well, which probably wasn't the best. I mean, they were all having fun, and I was just like, why is this good? What we're doing? Like we're just there with our Wii remotes running around. I was like, swapping and changing. So sometimes I was a Toad, sometimes I was one of the other boys, the brothers, and you're just running along, and there's like lots of chaos, and you just got to jump over the things and jump on the guys and pick up coins. It's not clear what coins even do. Are they to do with a score or something? I don't know. It didn't seem to have a gameplay repercussion.
Was it 2D?
It was 2D. It was like a 2D platforming experience.
Yeah, I know the one. It's Ben. I think it's New Super Mario Brothers. You know, like the party game that's set kind of like the old Mario's where you all play on the screen at once.
Yeah, I remember vaguely.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Continue, Greg.
That's fine. And yeah, you had to like pick up flowers, and they would shoot fire, and like you would fly around, and like the power ups would happen, and that's supposed to be great fun, I think. But I'm just sitting there like, wait, what? So what is this? And then I use it, and then they're like, no, Greg, don't use it like that. You're wasting it. And I'm like, what's going on? This is really crap. And no part of it was fun. Even when we got to the ends, everyone was like, oh, I jumped on the flag. And I was just like, okay, fine. And I was just waiting for it to be over at that point. It is one of the shittest experiences I've ever had with a video game.
That's interesting. So it sounds like you just kind of are not a fan of 2D Mario in general, because what you've described is essentially every 2D Mario.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of 2D platformers. The only one I can think of that doesn't fall into this general dislike is Super Meat Boy, and even that one wears on me after a while. Is it a lot of the time the gameplay is just moving along and jumping around things, and that's just it's so boring. Like it's just so unstimulating. It's just
okay. So it's like this just kind of comes back to that general theme of Greg is not a fan of platformers.
Yeah, that's going to be the theme of this episode.
So what is it? Is it the fact that is it the gameplay style? Is that what you don't like?
I think so. I mean, it seems like, so you know when people are like, I love going to concerts or I love going to sports games, I love the atmosphere, right?
Mm.
I don't think I know what people are talking about because I'm just in a large space with loud people jumping into me. Like I don't seem to have some. I think everyone's like this, but with different stuff, and I just seem to be missing the thing where you enjoy platformers. Like I get no joy out of the things that others seem to get joy out of in the experience. The bits that are good for them, I'm just like, okay, that's part of a thing that happened, and like it just continues. I mean, it's sort of like how Dan says that he can't enjoy open world games very easily because they aren't structured enough for him, and he just gets bored and directionless.
A certain type. But the thing is, I kind of understand what you're saying, Greg, because I know people that are my age, so they're dead. No, they're
Well, they didn't take on the dark gift that you did to allow you to live to the age that you have.
But I know people my age that grew up with kind of the NES, so Mario and that kind of thing were our first experiences with platformers. And they will quite happily now play the new Marios, the 3D Marios, the running around the map Marios, but absolutely cannot stomach going back to the old 2D side-scrolling Sonic and Mario because they were very difficult. They were very unforgiving, and especially the one that Greg was playing where you're playing as there's lots of things going on at screen at once, and there's hit detection, so you bounce off other characters, and it's chaos. So I completely understand your dislike of that game and of the 2D styles in general. I mean, I enjoy them to an extent, but I can only play them for so long because they're frustrating. That's kind of what they're known for.
Yeah, so I'm curious because I mean I'm a big fan of platformers. But I grew up, most of my stuff growing up was like Sonic, Crash Bandicoot, Mario. So I kind of grew up with them, which makes me wonder if I just, like I like them just because it's my childhood. That's how it was. Because I'm
I think
assuming,
that's
obviously,
probably why most of us like anything, really. You kind of,
well, exactly.
but I mean, you can appreciate, like, even though, like I say, I do quite like the 2D platformers now and again, I can appreciate why a lot of people don't, because the reason that we've moved on to other things, greater and better things, is because they are better. They are easier to play. They're more user friendly. You don't
Yeah, I
get
mean,
that with. Carry on.
yeah, I was going to say if you remove the nostalgia, I can see why you wouldn't like a 2D platformer, because they are very unforgiving.
And
Yeah.
shit.
That's rather subjective, but yes.
Subject all over you, Ben. We're here for our own opinions. That's what the people, they pay us. They pay us so much money to do these podcasts every week.
The
and give our
millions of
opinions.
bulletin bastards that we have.
Yeah, literally. And the million bulletin broadcast bastards. They tweet me every week. They say, "Come on, Greg. I feel like you're holding back. Give us your real opinions."
Well, I'm curious because I know Dan's going to discuss open world games at some point. I can just feel it. So,
Well, shall I just jump straight in, as you've both already read me and told me what I'm going to do? So I might as well.
We know you. We know you, and you're kind.
Old people.
I didn't say that. I said that Dan is our friend.
Yes, but if you jump in first, then it takes away the sting when you inevitably try and knock me down for being so old.
Well, we don't want to knock you down at all, Dan. In fact, we want to build you up. We know that you're our asset on this podcast. We know that we're getting nowhere without you.
You talk about knocking me down. Me and my similarly aged friend group had a discussion the other day as to, are we old enough yet to change the status of, do we fall over, or do we say one of us had a fall? Because
that's interesting, because there's no socially accepted age of it becomes you had a fall.
Well, it happened because one of my friends was hanging curtains and she fell backwards and broke her elbow.
Oh,
and she literally texted our friend group and was like, "Guys, I've had a fall," and it just became, okay, so we're that old now.
Yeah, I mean, I would sort of define it, thinking about it not very hard, about you'd say that someone had a fall if they have just fallen over, but that has health repercussions for them, which it clearly did in her case. But it just feels weird applying it to someone like who isn't now a pensioner or something. That just doesn't feel quite right in your head.
Yeah, I see that.
Speedy recovery to Dan's friend, nonetheless.
Yes.
Yeah, if you want to feel better, listen to this excellent podcast.
Yeah, listen to me laugh before I knew that you broke your elbow.
Hey, Ben, you can't be blamed for a lack of knowledge. That was Dan's fault for not prefacing it, saying, "Hang on, guys, this isn't a fun story."
It's fine. She's fine. She found it hilarious. Anyway, open world games. So
here we go.
You sum them up. It's a very broad term, open world games, and there's only a certain type of open world games I don't like, and it's
Bethesda.
I knew I was just sitting in my head, just thinking he's going to say Bethesda. He's going to say Bethesda.
No, it's not. Actually, it's not just Bethesda. Wait, who made Deus Ex? Because that falls under that category as well.
I don't know, but I feel I can't remember who made it, but I feel that it's kind of the Bethesda formula, even if it's not a Bethesda game.
Yeah. So I love sandbox games. I love open world games usually. Like I'm all about The Witcher and Grand Theft Auto and all that kind of stuff. Zelda, Breath of the Wild. I don't have a problem with an open world. What I have a problem with is the actual game that got me to really dislike them is Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and that was kind of my first experience with them, and I just felt completely lost, completely and utterly lost. So, this was, I didn't really have a friend group that really played that type of game at the time. So it wasn't a case of being able to discuss it with anyone of, oh, if you go to this town, you can follow this quest line. If you do this, you do that. You're just kind of dropped in the map and it's kind of, here you go. And then I played it. I think I put about 50 hours in, level 3. Woohoo.
That's a
And
lot of 50 hours to level 3.
I just didn't feel like I was doing anything. There were times when I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna play for a couple of hours, and I felt like all I did was ride from one place to another and then get killed at the end. And I'm just not a fan of games where I can completely undo a huge amount of work and progress by accidentally stealing an apple from behind a counter that I didn't realise I was stealing and pissing off an entire town. It's just too. I just find them so. I feel like with things like GTA, The Witcher, and stuff, you might put a couple of hours in, and especially things like The Witcher, you might only get one mission done, but at least you've done a mission and you feel like you've made progress with someone's quest line. Whereas I just felt like with Oblivion, like sometimes, if I remember rightly, there's like a thief assassin type thing because I accidentally killed someone and then they approach me at night or something like that, and it was like if like there was no kind of word or warning of if I wanted to go down that path how I could get there. I just felt like everything was happening to me by accident. I felt like there was no structure, and I just felt pretty much for the entire time I was playing like I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and that's not a nice feeling when you're 50 hours in and you don't feel like you've got anywhere. It just felt, because I really tried, because the people that love it really, really love it, and I thought, well, I'm a gamer, I should, if it's that highly renowned, I should at least give it a go, and I just don't get on with them. And then I tried to go back a few years later with Fallout, and I just felt the same. My friend, who was an absolute lover of them, came round and was like, well, you need to pick this up and use this card and do this before the door opens, and then you can go down this path and you can actually max out this and max out that. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm 12 hours into this one and I feel like I've just kind of done nothing. I don't know where I am or what I'm doing. So, yeah, that's where my hate of those games come.
Okay, so I think there's maybe 2 or 3 different issues here. One part of this issue, and I'll take blame because it's partly my fault. Big fans of Bethesda games are the shittest people in the world at winning people over to the upsides of Bethesda games.
I thought you were just going to stop there. Like,
Yeah.
they are just the shittiest people in the world.
There's shittier people, but in terms, like, we're just the worst proselytizers for our own cause in terms of trying to win people over to a franchise or franchises that we really love. A lot of the time, you meet Bethesda fans who are the shittest people in the world and don't want to win people over because they think it's their little thing. I've got no time for that sort of thought. But like, there's that doesn't help. There's also the fact that Bethesda games they attempt to be worlds you can live in and carry out a life, but that is and so the upside and downside of that is that you don't know what is around the next corner. As you said, with a good example with Oblivion, with the Dark Brotherhood, you don't actually get told in the game that if you murder someone, you will be recruited by Lucien. Well, you'll be offered to join the Dark Brotherhood by Lucien Lachance. Like, in the night, he will come for you next time you sleep and be like, you sleep soundly for a murderer, and tells you to kill like a man. There's no part in the game that tells you that. It's the same with the Thieves Guild. That's really difficult to join, and the only real preparation for that is that you hear people saying, well, the Thieves Guild are stealing a lot of stuff recently, and you see like posters around the town saying, this is the Grey Fox, keep an eye on him. It's like, and that, you can definitely say that there's downsides there because people want to get to the content of the game and they don't know that it's even there, that they're missing it,
Exactly.
I can't fault your point of view, Dan, because you're right. That is something that is definitely easily read as a flaw, and I don't even remember how I got around that stuff when I first played Bethesda games. It's possible I just found the content through word of mouth. I know my brother was playing them at the same time, and I know my brother's friends were playing them, and my friends were playing them. So between us, we probably worked out, you know.
See, this is what I was saying, because I was kind of felt like I was playing them alone, because I think I joined the party a bit late. I think that's what it was. I think all my friends had kind of had it, done it, played it, and then I'd kind of got it when the hype had died down to kind of go my own way. And I think the thing with Bethesda games is it's almost like you have to know how to play a Bethesda game in order to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to play it, or you don't know the kind of the nuances, and like you say, these kind of secret paths and stuff, if you don't know that going in, you just feel lost. And that was my problem. And like I say, 40, 50 hours, I really felt like I had a good crack at it. It's not like I just played it for 20 minutes and gave up, but
Yeah,
I
that's so
just
many hours.
it was a long time to get nowhere, and I think that's my problem. I'd get halfway down a quest route and then, accidentally screw something up, and then that was it. It was similar with Deus Ex. I remember getting really far and then dropping my controller and accidentally killing an NPC that was the giver of quests, and it's like, okay, that's it. That quest line's dead. You can't do anything now because you killed that person. And I know people love that. It's like, oh wow, I can mold the world to how I want it. And I was like, nah, shit.
Yeah, it's weird. So for me, I my first forte into Bethesda games was Fallout 3. And for me, I was the same as Dan. I didn't have anyone around me that played it. But for me, I just kind of rolled with the punches, and it was very much like, okay, I've done this thing, and here is the consequence, and how do I deal with the consequence? And I feel like Bethesda games are just like Marmite, aren't they?
Mm,
For international listeners, I guess. Like, there's a frog in my throat. Fuck.
that's okay. We'll forgive you.
The Marmite analogy is that the whole point is the advertisement of Marmite is that people either love it or hate it. There is no in between.
Mm.
And I feel like Bethesda games are they're very much like that. You either get in and maybe it's a bit extreme to say they're life simulators, but they are in a sense, because they're the whole appeal of them to people who like them is that there is no guidance per se.
Mm.
It's like, I wonder what happens if I steal this apple, and you either get caught or you don't. And if you do get caught, you have to then handle the consequences as you would in real life.
I think
And
that's part of the problem with that I had with it, though. It's a lot of, like most games, like open world games, those types of games are very clear about the consequences. They make it very clear when you are making a choice. Okay, you can go with choice A or choice B, and then you live with your consequences afterwards. But I think the problem that I had with Bethesda games is I didn't know I was making these choices sometimes.
Yeah.
no, it is
Yeah,
it's unfortunately the way that Bethesda games are, which kind of leads to this whole love it or hate it mentality.
yeah.
I can't blame you for hating it. I can't. As much as I like to rip on the fact that you don't like Bethesda games and stuff, I can't really. I can't
I
fault
think
you, because I fully understand why.
I shouldn't have used the word hate. It's not a hatred, because I can appreciate why people like them. And I would say a majority of my friend group, both the guys and the girls, are all lovers of Skyrim and have gone through it multiple times and will still play it now. And
Hmm.
I wish I was part of that. I really, really wish that I could just play it and love it. But I've watched people play it, and I, really kind of watched a few videos when it came out to see if I could get round it, and I just can't. It's just not for me.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Skyrim, as people who've been listening to this for a couple of episodes may know, I recently started playing Skyrim for the first time. And I will admit, Skyrim it's a bit of a different breed of Bethesda game. I didn't feel as aware of what was happening in the world as I did when I was playing the Fallout games.
Yeah.
And I feel that Skyrim is a lot less handholdy than the Fallout franchise, which has pros and cons. It depends on what you're after in a game.
Yeah, I mean, the Elder Scrolls and Fallout games definitely, they take a different tack to the Bethesda world approach. The Skyrim games are a lot less about choices than the Fallout games are. The Skyrim games are a lot more about you're an adventurer, whereas in Fallout you often get to choose between good and evil or pick a faction you want to support, that sort of thing. The way you play out the main storyline is totally different. In Skyrim, it's actually quite linear. Once you go up and look at the game from an upwards view, you realize there are like 6 primary quest lines in the whole game, and the only one where you really have any influence over actually making a choice is the Civil War. And that doesn't really change really anything. Whichever one you choose, you just have different characters that will say thank you at the end.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Aww.
I like I said, I do understand why you're not a fan of Bethesda games, because they are very much a Marmite thing, and some people are going to love them, some people are going to hate them. That's just how it be.
Well, I'm glad I got to air my views and give a reason, because it does just kind of look like, for no reason at all, that I hate Bethesda. Like, maybe I had stocks at one point and then Fallout came out and I ended up in the poorhouse.
No, I get it. I do get it. I understand.
Yeah, you had stocks in 2 worlds. You were like, this is going to be a great game. And then Oblivion comes along and you're like, damn, shouldn't have invested in 2 worlds.
I think it's my time to talk, isn't it?
Oh, it's your time to shine, Ben.
Okay,
Ooh.
well, on a completely different tangent to Bethesda, this should be interesting. One of the games that is probably my least favorite game, actually, I'd go so far as to say it is my least favorite game.
Wow.
Is Fortnite. I have such a big disdain for Fortnite. And I should preface this, I guess, by saying my issues with with Fortnite don't fall onto the players. Like, if you play Fortnite, that's fine. I have no quarrels with that. You play what you enjoy. I hate Fortnite as a game. I hate everything that Fortnite has done to gaming. I hate Epic Games. So, like, my big thing with Fortnite is I remember I wrote a piece a while back about how Fortnite was one of the most influential games of this generation. And I stand by that. It is influential, but not for a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
Fortnite, it popularized the Battle Pass, which I just absolutely detest. I hate Battle Passes. And I hate the way that Fortnite has just become such a blatant cash grab. Like, it doesn't even care anymore. It's like, oh yeah, let's just have a fucking Batman skin and let's have Batman do a floss dance because, why not? It's such this. I don't know.
Does it feel corporate? Does it
corporate
feel
is
false?
Yeah, that's kind of my issue, is that my view of Fortnite is that Epic Games are kind of pulling these strings, and like there's this puppet, and it's like, oh yeah, well, if we put some superheroes into it, people will buy the skins and we'll make loads of money. And the people playing the game are like, oh yeah, they don't. It's almost like they don't kind of either don't process it or just don't care, because they want to play as fucking Four or whoever. It's like, oh yeah, well I get to play as Four. Like, yeah, fine, but you've given money to this massive studio, and like that's before we get into the whole Epic Games versus Apple fucking shit.
There's an Epic Games versus Apple thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
bloody
so the Epic Games are currently suing Apple and Google because basically Fortnite was on mobile. If you want to have your game on the App Store and you want to have people buy stuff, they have to buy through Apple, and then Apple take something like 30% of however much is spent.
They take a cut.
Yeah, and Epic decided they didn't like that, and so what they done was they allowed it so that you could make purchases through Fortnite itself, which was obviously a breach of the T's and C's of being on Apple's platform. So Apple removed Fortnite, and that in itself, it wouldn't be too bad, because it's like, oh, you've got this big kind of battle of, well, you shouldn't be taking as big of a cut as you are, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
But literally about half an hour after Fortnite got removed from the App Store, a lawsuit was filed. Like 30 minutes later, a lawsuit was filed, and a trailer was published that was a piss take of Apple's 1989 commercial when they released the Macintosh. And it's just like, you sit back and you go, okay, so you had all this shit waiting in the wings. You had all of this stuff waiting. You knew that Apple were going to take you off, and you had all of this material ready. You had the lawsuit waiting to be filed, and then they did it, and they spun it around into this big social media campaign of like #free Fortnite, and they've been sending out stuff to influencers and stuff. Like they recently sent out a package to influencers that had I can't remember the device, but it was I think it's Samsung. You can still play Fortnite on Samsung devices for some reason, but they sent all these influencers like a Samsung tablet, and it was like, oh yeah, Samsung's the only platform you can still play Fortnite. Please post this picture, #free Fortnite. And it's like, it feels like such a scummy thing.
It's not like they don't need the money. They need the money. Sorry,
this is it.
Yeah,
this is it, and they're riling up all of these people into what is essentially multi-million-pound company versus multi-million-pound company in the argument of multi-millions of pounds.
I would say that you are perhaps, I don't know if you're annoyed so much at the companies so much as you are that people are getting involved and feeling like they want a dog in this race, and they're letting themselves get caught up in something which
Maybe, yeah. It literally doesn't matter, no. But I guess this is what I was trying to say. Like my whole thing isn't necessarily against the Fortnite community or anything like that. It's more to do with Fortnite as a game and Fortnite as this
phenomenon.
Yeah, as this phenomenon, and people blindlessly backing something that literally could not give a shit about them.
Yeah, I mean that's fanboyism, isn't it? That's been present in one form or another in the video game culture space as long as I can remember. I don't know if it's as present now, but it used to be the case that PlayStation and Xbox people argued all the time.
It still happens, yeah. I feel like as well. Like I really detest battle passes, and I fully blame Fortnite for popularizing that. I mean, Fortnite wasn't the first one to do it. From what I remember, Hearthstone had a battle pass like system that they used from time to time, but I feel like Fortnite definitely popularized this system.
Yeah.
And like, I understand if a game's going to be free to play, it needs to make money. Like, I fully understand that, but I just
Does it need to make that much money?
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing with Fortnite as well, though, is it's just not a very good game. I mean, I jumped on at the beginning to see this up and coming game that everybody loved, and I was like, this is I just didn't see the appeal. I know that it's gone through several kind of makeovers and seasons or whatever they call it now, but I was just like, okay, this is a mediocre shooter with build mechanics and awful graphics and animations. That's how it was at the beginning, and I was just kind of okay. I don't really get why everyone's going nuts for this. I've never really truly understood it.
I guess I should kind of, for full transparency, I should say, like, I have played Fortnite, and originally I did enjoy it. Um, because when I first started playing it was when it first kind of came out, and it was like this new shooting game with these build mechanics, and it was fun. And then the battle pass came, and then these streamers who were playing it, like the skill level needed to play that game has increased so exponentially, is actually unreal. Like, if you cannot build a 4-story apartment in fucking 5 seconds, you just will not win that game.
Yeah, I mean that it reminds me of the Call of Duty craze a couple of years ago though, when everyone was playing Call of Duty and I was bedridden with my chronic fatigue for 2 years and basically only played Call of Duty and Fallout games for 2 years. And I got myself to this skill level with Call of Duty games that when I jump back into them now, I'm just like, how the hell was I doing that?
Yeah.
When you and a lot of these kids that are playing, I assume it's mostly teenagers and kids that are playing Fortnite. From anecdotal evidence, they have time. They're not like us, guys. We're adults now. We have responsibilities. We have
We have
people.
faults.
Yeah, we've got we've got jobs. We got
Problems.
bills. Yeah. Yeah, but these kids, I mean, maybe it's partly because we envy them that they get to play video games all night and they do 30 minutes of homework. And now with the pandemic, I guess they get to play video games a lot in the day. I don't really know what's going on. I don't spend time around children, but they've got time. They got time, and they can perfect this stuff. And they have parents who are, frankly, too uninterested in all of it that they're like, okay, fine, you can have £20 for Fortnite a month. That's fine. And these kids will spend those £20 on skins, and they're like, look, I look like Darth Vader this month. All of that stuff. That's just that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I used to be an avid Call of Duty player. I loved it. I really really enjoyed the first kind of few that came out on the Xbox, and I really enjoyed going online with my friends. But with each coming release, like you say, the skill level needed to be able to just participate, not even to necessarily do well, but to just be alive more than 10 seconds, it became ridiculous. And with, like you say, grown up responsibilities, I just didn't have the time to put in, and I wasn't willing to. I wasn't willing to do what some of my friends were doing and coming home from work, having dinner, and then playing it for 6 hours till they go to bed. I wasn't willing to do that just to be able to still play with them, and it's a shame because I miss it. But yeah, my biggest issue with Fallout, like not Fallout, Fortnite is
just randomly coming back to Fallout.
Bethesda. Obviously, being in the profession that I'm in, working in schools and stuff, what really winds me up is that Fortnite is a game that is not particularly good for kids, not particularly something children should be playing, but is clearly marketed at children, and that's what winds me up.
I guess, yeah, to wrap up, like, I said that my least favorite game is Fortnite, but it's mainly because it's tied to Epic Games, and most of my beef is with Epic Games.
Kind of all the stuff that comes with it, as opposed to the game itself, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Fortnite itself isn't like it's a game. Okay, skill level. If you ignore the skill level, it can be quite fun. But yeah, my actual issues with it stem from the publisher rather than the actual game itself. It's just the way that Epic Games are kind of using Fortnite as this vessel to achieve what they want to.
Well, they want to be a challenger, don't they? They've got their own game platform on PC now. They want to challenge Steam and good old games and things like that. And I can't even begrudge them for that because I think that's a positive anyway. Though I'm sure most people will hate me for saying that. They want to try and disrupt. They want to try and take a larger portion of the market share in several different ways. They want to retain more of their profits. It's the market.
Yeah.
We want
You
competition.
should.
But
Yeah,
we don't
you
want
should.
dick moves.
No, you should always welcome more competition, but it's ironic because Epic Games were bitching about Steam having all the exclusives, and they're the only platform people use for PC. And then they came along and they had their own exclusive system, and everyone was like, "Wait, what? Didn't you just have a go about that?"
Mm. Yeah, it's funny because they're doing a mix of they sort of want people to root for them as part of their brand as being this plucky upstart against Steam, but they also do these hypocritical moves and they wind people up. And I think the PC crowd especially are not used to exclusives,
No,
and
definitely not.
they are hostile to that, even though the barrier to entry for downloading an app is so much considerably less than buying a console that it literally confuses me when people are against exclusives on. It's fine, it's really easy. I don't know. So yeah, people are hostile. The PC crowd are not. They don't want to hear anything about Epic Games for the most part, from what I can tell.
No, they're all very pro Steam and pro Valve.
Yeah.
It makes me chuckle because if you think about the most cringiest person that plays Fortnite, that does the orange whatchamacallit dance and just dresses like a douche, that kind of really awful, oh god, you make me cringe. I always feel that Epic is run by a handful of people that are like that. That's the impression I was always given.
It's just a board meeting of people like flossing on the table. Like, right, guys, okay, so how do we make more money today?
I actually have a story about flossing. When I worked at Marks and Spencer's a couple of years back, as you can imagine, plenty of my fellow employees were between the ages of 16 and 18. And there was one of them that I got on well with, and he started talking to me about flossing, and I started pretending that I'd never heard of it, which was impossible at the time. Everyone knew about it. And like I asked him to like show me what flossing was, and he showed me the dance, and I said, "Oh, the swishy gym. That's what they're calling it. They're calling it flossing now." And he's like, "The swishy, yeah." And I was like, "Yeah. It's called the Swishy Gym. Tell everyone."
Oh no.
Which was good fun. So now I like to think that this person has gone into life believing that it was originally called the Swishy Gym and telling people that as like his cool fact at parties and stuff.
I'd love to know how far that got. You just kind of casually see Ninja on YouTube talking about the origins of the floss when it was called the Swishy Gym.
Yeah, I created a myth on the spot, which I love to think has penetrated, but I just don't believe it. I don't know if anyone probably believed him beyond himself.
Oh dear. Does anyone else have anything they want to talk about? Any other least favorite games?
I think is it honourable mention time? I think we've really kind of deeply covered.
Well, we did do 10 minutes talking about random shit, so.
And we didn't even talk about the Diamond and Pearl remake, which I did actually want to say some words on. And I know, Dan, you don't actually have a lot of time today, so maybe we do honourable mentions. I can say my thoughts on Diamond and Pearl, and you guys can be like, and then we'll wrap up. That sound good?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Honourable mentions. I didn't really have another game in mind. I just wanted to say puzzle games. I don't enjoy them. They are stressful. I want to, when I play video games, not have to think about puzzles. I'm not a puzzle-minded man. So let's pick one at random. Portal. Although I think the game is good and I like it, and I've actually played Portal all the way through.
I
Portal.
was gonna say, how do you say puzzle games and then pick the best puzzle game?
It's the standard bearer, isn't it? It
Yeah,
represents.
that's true.
But yeah, puzzle games. Greg isn't a fan.
Dan, do you want to go?
I had two actually. My other ones, I had Destiny, because it was another one that everyone jumped on, friends and stuff, and it made me realise that I'm not a massive fan of those kind of loot-based games where it's all about picking up the next gun and I have to use this one because it's more powerful, but actually I really don't like using that type of gun, so I'm going to be massively underpowered compared to everyone else, or buying a gun and then 10 seconds later finding one that's 3 times as good. Just didn't like it. And Halo Wars was another one I really tried to get to, and
isn't that the RTS one?
It is, and I used to love RTSs. I used to play the original 2 Warcrafts. I think it was 2 Warcrafts I played to death. Civilization, that kind of thing, loved them. Halo Wars really made me fall out of love with the genre, and I've never gone back to it, to be honest.
What didn't you like about Halo Wars?
It was trying to be like the whole, like, certain, like, warthogs can jump like canyons and some things can't, and it was trying to do too much where you had to be really zoomed in and seeing what was going on, but then you also had to try and manage being really zoomed out and actually building up your army as sorts, and just trying to control it on a console. I just found the whole thing an incredible chore.
Yeah, they did have gimmicks. There were gimmicks in that game.
Yeah, and I don't think they worked. And when you're trying to just manage the kind of the building side of it, the RTS side of it, and you're like, oh god, they can't go that way because there's a stupid canyon that only my warthogs can go across. It just felt, didn't like it.
Fair.
Ooh, that emergency services vehicle is not in my.
No, it's in mine. Welcome to East London.
Wow, good stuff. All right, Ben, did you have any honourable mentions?
Yeah. Well, I guess dishonourable mentions we should call them. I also wanted to talk about Destiny. I mentioned it in my games that disappointed me. And yeah, just I use Destiny, but I think loot 'em shoot 'ems in general are just not my thing. I tried the Division, couldn't really get on board with the Division either, which was a shame because in premise it was a really good game.
Agreed. Yeah.
But I just couldn't click with them. There's nothing wrong with them per se. They're just not my style of game.
And the FPS element for me. Sorry to interject, but I think because I actually went back and played Diablo after playing Destiny, which is kind of the origins of the whole picking up loot, and I really enjoyed that. So
yeah. The thing is that they do it a bit differently. They've got like a dungeon crawler-esque loot 'em shoot 'em. I think my big thing with them was that Destiny and the Division, I both played majority on my own, and they are very much more social games than they are single-player games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you want to play them on your own because not everyone has a flexible schedule that works with their human friends. Like
go on. No, as I say, my friend's dad, he's big on Destiny. He's been playing it since it came out, and they have like Destiny Day, where they say, okay, today we are going to sit down. Everyone is free for this 5 hours, so we're going to do as many missions as we can, as many raids as we can, and then they'll go off in their spare time and increase their gear and get new loot and stuff like that. And then they'll have one day where they collate together and do the destiny. They do destinying.
Oh,
A bit like what we do with this podcast.
A little bit, yeah.
oh. Yeah, but we often struggle to find an hour, let alone a day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the last game I want to discuss before we let Greg talk about Pokemons is
You make it sound like I'm an issue. Like you have to like bear through me. I'm lovely.
no, you are beautiful. Like, you know, I think you're beautiful. You know that. I call you Greggy Bear. You are my Greggy Bear. And now I have a file on my phone of you singing "You Are My Sunshine," so my life is complete.
Yeah, is that going to be the podcast intro this week?
If you really want it to,
I would love that. That's what I sung it for. I love the podcast intro as it currently is, but I felt like it needed my singing. And frankly, I think it needs replacing. So this week, Greg singing "You Are My Sunshine" hopefully is the intro. You will have all heard it already and thought, "Wow, that was beautiful." Every week, every week.
Maybe it should be the outro so people are warned. Just put that out there.
I don't know. I feel like it needs to go at the front. I want everyone. I want our podcast front loaded with some beautiful, spunky singing.
But I want people to continue listening through the intro.
Dan, are you saying that people would not be hooked? It's got the word podcast in it. I reworked those lyrics. I wrote that song myself in a way.
Anyway, talk about Pokemon, Greg.
It's up to Ben. It's up to Ben.
There was one game I wanted to discuss that is actually a game that I didn't like, which was a game called Wasteland 3. Wasteland 3 should have been so good. Great big open world, great lore, a lot of attention to detail, great turn-based combat, but the game ran abysmally. And I was reviewing this on Xbox, so it isn't like a PC hardware issue. Dropped frames everywhere, hard crashes every 2 or 3 hours for no rhyme or reason. And talking to a friend of mine, Tom, who was playing it, he experienced the same issues, and a Google search revealed that people were experiencing the same issues. And these persisted for about 4 or 5 months. I was kind of hoping that every patch they were doing, because they were patching regularly, and I was hoping that it would address the issues, but it didn't, unfortunately. I uninstalled, reinstalled countless times, and nothing worked. So,
Are you sure it wasn't Cyberpunk? Because they sound very similar.
Cyberpunk never hard crashed on me personally.
PS5 every, I'd say 2 to 3 hours.
Wow, that's not reassuring, is it?
On the PS5, it was constant. It was really.
Do you get paid every time you say PS5 or something?
I said it twice today, you jerk.
It's just every week you find a way to bring up. Oh, by the way, I'm one of the privileged few. That's why they call me Next Gen Dan.
Excuse me, there are 9 of us in the UK that got a PS5, and I feel like able to flaunt that now and again because I have nothing else in my life.
Wow. I mean, I'm just saying, Dan, you are Next Gen Dan. It is, you came up with that title yourself, I'm pretty sure. You brag about it every week. I've got a Next Gen console.
I'm pretty sure I have a message somewhere where Dan asks if we can introduce him as Next Gen Dan.
Oh, you're such a liar. Look.
And that's funny. I've got a message from a couple of months back. Dan left a message on my phone in the middle of the night. He just laughed and laughed and laughed and said, "You don't have one," and hung up.
You know what? Any day I could have a fall and not be here for the following and you will feel awful about all these lies and slander dragging my name through the mud.
We're building you up. We're building up your bad boy rep.
Bitches. You are big old bitches. That's what it is.
We just want you to go far.
Far away.
You could have a fall any day. We want your legend to spread far and wide.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk Diamond and Pearl, because I am actually curious about this, because Diamond and Pearl are the 2 most requested remakes of the franchise, if I remember correctly, Greg.
Yeah, because they're next in line. It's their turn. So this morning, again, we're dating the podcast, the trailers came out for the new Diamond and Pearl remakes. And we'll see. I mean, things could change over the next few weeks. But what they've done is as opposed to Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, what they've done with these Diamond and Pearl remakes is they have made it less like a remaster and more like a remake, if that makes sense. It's more like a retexture.
Yeah, it's actually redone.
Yeah, like it looks. The actual physical overworld gameplay looks identical. The actual gameplay in battles, actually, it doesn't. The graphics somehow look worse than Sword and Shield. I would say it's sort of. I don't know how or why they've done that, but I was, when I knew that they were having a remake that was coming out, I was thinking to myself, great. Hopefully, they will learn lessons from Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and make sure that there's a big variety of Pokemon in Sinnoh. Just add loads. That would be great. Which was one of the biggest issues with the Sinnoh region. If you guys have played Pearl and Diamond recently, there's like 6 Pokemon like for the first hour, and
Lord,
there's like 20 in the first 5 hours. There's like 1 fire Pokemon in the game, and there's like 3, I think, actually, and one of them is a legendary. They just.
Why do people want this game?
Well, because they played it as children and they've forgotten that actually that game does not play well anymore. And I was thinking, great, a remake would be awesome. And there's a lot of issues with the overworld being kind of shit and handholdy as well. I was thinking, great, a remake would be really good. They could strip out the HMs, they could put in new Pokemon, they could streamline the game and make it better. Now
More
I've seen
water.
the footage. You are?
More water.
More water. Yeah, more. Yeah, I would love to see them improve the game, and it's so easy. And actually, one day they're gonna. There was a high difficulty setting in Black White 2, and it was good. They should keep doing it, but I don't think they're gonna do that. But all the things that I want them to do to make Pokemon games better are actually super easy to do, and they just don't do them. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, I feel like at the moment we're in the golden age of remakes with things like the Resident Evil, the Final Fantasy, where they're like, okay, the core game is great, people love it. Let's just keep it as close as we can, but get rid of all the stuff that frustrated people. And I feel like Nintendo haven't quite got that memo yet.
Mm.
And I worry for it. I will definitely be waiting for a review or two before I pre-order that one, because I feel like you say, Greg, that it may be that some of the stuff that really annoyed people may come with it.
Yeah, they may just leave it in there for stupid reasons. Like, why would you do it? Why would you do it?
Yeah, they're not amazing when it comes to remakes, really, are they?
Nah.
I mean, who asked for Skyward Sword HD?
Probably Dan.
I mean, I have a confession to make. You heard it here first. Okay. That is the only Zelda that I have ever played and not finished. And it's because
it's awful.
It's not awful. It's because the motion controls were such a ball ache. I just, after 50 tries at the last boss, I just couldn't do it.
That's fair.
Because I my joints aren't as supple as they once were.
Supple. And that's a big thing, audience, because if you don't know, Dan finishes almost every game he ever plays, I think. So for him to not finish a game that's an indictment.
It's a dark shadow over my entire life, really, so I feel like I'm getting a second chance.
Yeah. Wow. I think this was a great episode, friends. I feel like we had a nice time. I'm sorry that I did not bring an idea this week to make this podcast a multi-million hit. Only Dan's.
I got one.
Oh, yeah.
So, in America, they don't say Craig, and they call it Craigslist. I thought we could do a Greg's List.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yes, this is okay. Okay.
I have nothing else. That's it.
Okay, well, let's flesh that out next week. What goes on Greg's List? And
I'm interested to see, because I changed the intro music for the episode that's going up today.
Yeah, you did.
Which was our Q&A one.
Okay, never mind.
the episode for this podcast, if you genuinely want, Greg, I will do your little song.
I will actually be unhappy if you don't.
You're happy if I don't?
I'm happy if I don't. I'll let out a little tear.
Okay.
Promise. You got to do it.
Okay. All right. For you, Greg, I'll do it. All right. Well, thank you for listening, people. Thank you guys for being with me and doing a nice little episode.
That's right.
Hopefully, next week we don't talk about games that are shit or disappointing.
Yeah, we should.
Let's get positive next week. Let's come up with a positive topic.
If you're listening and you're not following us on social media, follow Games Bulletin and let us know if you want us to discuss something. It's not like we're inundated with requests. And yeah, do you guys have anything to say before we sign off?
Inundate us, please.
Mm-hmm.
We love you.
Dan does.
Yeah,
I don't.
Greg still thinks you're a bastard. So
I don't know what you're up to.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.